Hello and welcome to Newsclick. I'm Paranjoy Guha Thakurta. I had the honor and the privilege to spend 2 hours with a person who is arguably India's greatest living film director. His name is Shyam Benegal. I met him at his office in Tardeo in Mumbai. And instead of half an hour, which I thought I would get from him, he gave me 2 hours. So we are going to publish this interview in 3 segments. And the first segment is all about his 23rd feature film, which is going to be released very soon. It is a film called Mujib, The Making of a Nation. It's about Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, often considered by many to be the father of Bangladesh. It is Shyam Benegal's first and so far only film made in the Bengali language. The film is not only Shyam Benegal's first and so far only film made in the Bengali language, it is unique because it is a co-production of 2 government bodies. The Government of India's NFDC or National Film Development Corporation and Bangladesh Film Development Corporation. The film is expected to be released across the world in 2023. Different subtitled versions of the film are going to be released across the world towards the end of 2023. Hello and welcome to Newsclick. I'm Paranjoy Guha Thakurta. And I'm truly honored and privileged that I'm here in the office of India's greatest living filmmaker. I'm sitting in the Tardeo, Mumbai office of Shyam Benegal. Thank you so much, Mr. Benegal, for giving us your time. और न्यूज़क्लिक का दर्शक भी अत्यंत हम गर्वित बोध करते हैं कि आपका कीमती समय आप हमें दिया. आपका तबीयत कैसा है? हम सुन रहे हैं कि यू आर हैविंग टू गो फॉर डायलिसिस. आपका हफ्ते में 2 बार आपका डायलिसिस के लिए आपको जाना पड़ रहा है. तो आपका तबीयत के बारे में आप बताइए, क्योंकि आपका उम्र है 88, you are 88, you're going to be 89.
Yeah.
How is your health?
Well, I would say middling. It's, at my age, I cannot complain about anything. It's good that I can at least walk and stand and come to my office and do my regular work. Now, that's important. For me, the most important thing is working. And that's the only thing that keeps me in good health. If I had given up working, at my age, most people retire and disappear from the scene. But I decided that I wasn't going to do that. There's no question of retirement. Retirement means goodbye, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not yet ready to say goodbye.
That's very good. We are very, very honored and we are very, very happy that you're optimistic. Tell us a little bit about the current status of the film that you're making, which is a co-production of the Government of India and the Government of Bangladesh. And it is titled Mujib, The Making of a Nation. It has been several years since this being made, and kindly, and I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time that you're making a Bengali language feature film. You've been making films from the time you were 12 years old, I know, using your father's camera, but from 1974, you have been making feature films. And this is going to be your 23rd film and the first film in the Bangla language.
আমি বাঙালি, আমি মানুষ, আমি মুসলমান, একবার মরে দুইবার মরে না। নিশির বাতাস কাহার হুতাশ।
But the new nation of Pakistan will have one national language, Urdu.
রাষ্ট্রভাষা বাংলা চাই।
আমি তোমারে একটা ফুতুর ঘর দিলাম।
Tell us about the current status of this film.
Well, I don't really know Bengali. That's a bit of a disadvantage. But I had very good people to help me. Because, the most important thing was that the Bengali as spoken in Bangladesh is slightly different from the Bengali as spoken in West Bengal. The accents are slightly different. Some of the expressions are slightly different.
Bangal Bhasha.
Yeah, quite right.
Both my parents are from
Yeah.
East Bengal.
But, one doesn't, if you say Bengal in West Bengal, it's seen as an insult, because the fact is that but as far as the Bangladeshis are concerned, the original Bengali is theirs. West Bengal has a language that's got mixed up with several other languages, but they sort of pride themselves on the purity of their language. So of course for me all this is above me because I don't know Bengali. But what was interesting to me while making the film, since I chose to make it in Bengali, the reason being that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman fought for a Bengali nation. It was East Pakistan, and he among a whole lot of people, particularly the intellectual community, was there's a kind of jackboot on top of them from Pakistan, West Pakistan. And they suffered a great deal on account of that. So these are people who rose against Pakistan, and then eventually the Sheikh Mujib was a person among the people who said that we have to fight for a Bengali nation.
In other words, would you agree with me when I said the birth of Bangladesh in 1971 conclusively, I wouldn't say conclusive, but indicated clearly that culture, of which language is an integral part, in more senses than one, matters more than religion?
It does actually. It does. It matters a lot because you see, one of the things is the Bengali person of Bengali background who speaks Bengali feels that he's heir to a very rich culture, but the language itself provides a very rich culture. And it's also, you have a great number of people who contributed to, because the late 19th century, which really is, you might call the modern age as far as India is concerned also, 1857 being a kind of break between the old feudal order and the changing order from then on. And the people who created the Bengali nation saw themselves as heirs to this modernity. Because if you find that the first state, Bengal is the first place where you had education in English as well, in a way that opened their windows to the West in a way that the rest of India did not quite have that. So they were part of a much larger culture and the process of civilization. The evolution of that civilization, it was much more advanced, let us say, in terms of the world than a large part of India. And that was very important because, you see, in India, the rest of India, it really was only the south. Actually, because, you had the Calcutta University was the first one among the universities. Then you have the Madras University. And after that, everybody else came later. So that in terms of education, and also education that would be kind of the link to the rest of the world, was much, much more advanced than any other part of India.
श्याम जी, ये फिल्म काफ़ी साल से बन रहे हैं. इसमें भारत सरकार का मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ब्रॉडकास्टिंग, सूचना और प्रसारण मंत्रालय, बांग्लादेश सरकार है, आपका नेशनल फिल्म डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन भी है, NFDC है. तो कहाँ तक पहुँचा ये? आप शूटिंग किया ढाका में और अलग अलग जगह में. सो व्हाट इज़ द करंट स्टेटस ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द फिल्म? बिकॉज आई वाज रीडिंग एंड आई वाज टोल्ड दैट बाय दिस टाइम द फिल्म वाज सपोज्ड टू बी रेडी एंड कंप्लीटेड. तो आप जरा बताइए कहाँ तक ये फिल्म इसका प्रयोजन?
It was a force of circumstances. See, the pact between Narendra Modi and Sheikh Hasina was signed in 2019. So and then the
4 years ago, 4 years back.
4 years back. But the fact was that it took time, who was going to share how much and so on and so forth. Because you see, the government of India, that is Narendra Modi, said that we would like to make a film about Sheikh Mujib Rahman. And then Sheikh Hasina said, see, it's a wonderful idea. It's marvelous that you wish to do this. But I personally feel, being the daughter of Sheikh Mujib, we should participate. We should participate in the making of this film. So let it not just be a film that is being made by India for Bangladesh. Let it be a joint venture between Bangladesh and India, together. So the contract that was signed was between the Bangladesh Film Development Corporation and the National Film Development Corporation of ours. So between the two of them, they put this project together. And another thing was that Sheikh Hasina also said that, look, I think we should put a little more money than India.
So you're saying Bangladesh is putting more money into the project than India?
Because you see, she said, look, it's a film about the father of our nation. Now, like what happened when we made a film on Gandhi in India. Because the Attenborough wanted to make a film, but Mrs. Gandhi at that time said, sorry, you make the film, but we pay for it.
I'm going to come to that. I'm going to come to the other films you made on Gandhi, on Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But before that, what is the current status of Mujib, the making of a nation? What is the present status?
The film is more or less ready. It is ready, but it requires a few things. Like, say, for instance, the film we shot was in Bengali. But India wanted, in this BFDC and FDC thing, India wanted the film to be that we would be able to show the film all over the country, in our country. In which case, by having a film in Bangla, its reach becomes limited. So they said you should have a Hindi version as well. And then in any case, Sheikh Hasina had said that you should have a version that can be shown abroad.
So an international version.
International film. Mainly because, you see, the Bangladeshis are all over the world now, and particularly in the Western world. And in the Western world also, in countries like Germany, France, Britain, Canada.
US.
Yeah, so you have large numbers of Bangladeshis, and they, you see, unlike a lot of other people from the South Asia and East Asia, they never lose their links with their home. That umbilical cord remains, and which is why she felt that it was important.
All right.
Sheikh Hasina felt it was very important that the film should be shown to people, Bangladeshi people in the rest of the world. So we felt that yes, that's a good idea actually. And then what we did was that we would have, one was to dub the film. But I stood firm. I said no dubbing.
So it's being subtitled.
The reason for that being that, see, Sheikh Mujib fought for Bengali and fought for a Bengali nation. You cannot tamper with that by dubbing it in other languages. So we decided on subtitling the film.
So currently it is being subtitled to Hindi and English.
And English, but it will probably, depending on, where you have a large congregation of Bangladeshis. Now you see, at the moment, it is capable of being shown in Canada because you have a very large Bangladeshi community there, starting all the way from the east to the west.
So today we are in Mumbai. This is the 1st of July 2023. When are you hopeful that this film would be shown to the public at large?
Originally, because of these, because it was between two countries, there were many, bureaucratic hurdles to be cleared. So it took a long time. In fact, the film was supposed to be ready and would have done some part of its run by now.
So when are you hopeful it'll be
Well,
released
we are hoping that you see there needs to be some occasion, to open the film.
March next year?
Yeah. So one of the things was to open the film in Toronto. Because Sheikh Hasina was very, very interested in having the film shown at international film festival, particularly in the countries where you have a large Bangladesh presence. So we did do a few things, but even when it was not fully complete. For instance, we had a curtain raiser, in the Toronto Film Festival. Although it was just a curtain raiser, but it had excellent response. So now we will, we can do it with confidence.
There's no date that's been fixed.
What's this?
No date has been fixed.
No date. We wanted to keep it on the, Mujib, as you know, was assassinated one day before our Independence Day, on 14th of August. So we thought that, but then it was clashing with India's Independence Day, so we didn't want to do that. And we wanted it absolutely clear of all of that, so that politically speaking, we wouldn't do something that would affect them or affect us in any way,
All right.
So obviously now it will be released either anywhere between September and December. But the most important thing was that there were other things that came in the way, because you had Ramzan coming, which meant that the month of Ramzan is very little is done in Bangladesh, because they keep those keep it very, they're pretty orthodox like that. You know, you have very, very few people, I mean, certainly no Muslim will eat anything during the day. You know, so you have, it's not a time when you can release the film.
All right. We are not yet sure, but it's likely to happen within this calendar year. May I?
Yeah, that
all right?
it has to be.
All right.
যে আমাদের প্রজাতন্ত্রের দুইটা আলাদা প্রদেশ হতে হবে, পশ্চিম পাকিস্তান আর পূর্ব বাংলা।
গণতন্ত্র যদি প্রতিষ্ঠা না হয় তাহলে তো পাকিস্তান থেকে স্বাধীন হবার কোনো উপায় থাকবে না।
রক্ত যখন দিয়েছি, রক্ত আরো দেব, এদেশের মানুষকে মুক্ত করে ছাড়বো ইনশাআল্লাহ।
Tell me a little bit about the film, the actors, and what were the challenges you faced in the making of the film?
Well, the most important thing was, the question was of language. Since the film was going to be shot in Bengali, and since I couldn't, I mean, one of the things that was not acceptable, easily acceptable, let me put it that way, was to take Bengali actors from our country to make the film. So I had to cast everybody from their side, from Bangladesh. Although the film was shot partly in Bangladesh and partly in Bombay, but we had to bring the whole lot of actors from there. You know, because it mattered a great deal, because they're very particular about the you know, accents and speech and all of that kind of thing. So I had to have actors from there. Fortunately for me, the actors from Bangladesh are outstanding.
Who plays Mujib?
Arifin Shu, he truly is a brilliant actor. So most of the actors who, if they have to make a reasonable living, have to do a lot of theatre.
So he's a theatre actor.
Same thing with like in Calcutta, actors also do the same, because they can't make a living doing films.
I got you.
You know, so Arifin is a brilliant actor, but he also acts a lot in on stage, and particularly all over. You know, between Dhaka, Chittagong, everywhere. So he along with the other actors, Bangladeshi actors, they are acting in the theatre much of the time.
All right, I got you. And do you have an actor playing Sheikh Hasina's role?
Yeah, Sheikh Hasina, well, Sheikh Hasina is also played, young Sheikh Hasina. And she is also one of that group of actors,
I see.
along with Arifin.
Okay.
You know, the young Sheikh Hasina is in the film. You know, because, I mean, he was assassinated in 1975, I think.
Do you also in the film talk about what happened after the assassination?
No, after, you see, the film actually naturally will end when 14 people, 14 members of Sheikh Mujib's film, including himself and his wife and a whole lot of relations, were assassinated. Only the two daughters were not. That was only because they happened to be abroad at the time. You know, Helen and Sheikh Hasina. These were the two who you know,
Survived.
Yes.
The massacre.
Because the plan was to massacre the entire family.
Okay, I wanted to ask you a different question. You have made a film on Netaji Subhash Chandra
Yeah,
Bose.
yeah.
That was a film that you made in 2005. In 1996, you made a film on the Mahatma, the making of the Mahatma, on Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. You have made a television serial on Jawaharlal Nehru's discovery of India, Bharat Ek Khoj, 1988.
And also on Jawaharlal Nehru himself.
That's correct.
That
It-
was a
absolute-
three-part film, because, you know, it became a three-part film because it was meant for television.
That's correct. And you have made not only biographies of people who were politically important and historically important, you've also made a film and you've also, written a book on Satyajit Ray,
Yeah.
with whom you have had a long association and you interviewed him over several years and you put it together. In what way was the making of this film, Mujib, the making of a nation, different from your experience in making films about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, about Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru?
Well, there's only one point to be made here, which is that you cannot deify the person, then you lose a lot of the person's characteristics, the character also. Because human beings are not gods. They have their flaws, but their flaws are outweighed by so many other things that they do which helps people around them, and also generations that come after them. Now the fact is that this is very important, because for me, when I'm making a film about some great historical personality, then I have to remember that he is not simply to be deified.
You want to portray a person, not, as you say, deify that person, but as a human being with limitations.
That's the main thing. A human being, but there's always a plus factor, that makes him rise. Because there is a certain kind of integrity, there's a certain kind of moral integrity there, which is very important. Like when you look at Gandhi, there are flaws in everybody, but the fact is, none of these people intentionally have done harm to anyone. They're not like a whole lot of other people who are also leaders of their country. So these are people who are untainted by that sort of thing.
You just heard Shyam Benegal discussing his yet to be released film called Mujib, the making of a nation. In the second part of this interview, Shyam Benegal talks about his trilogy of films on Muslim women. We discuss politics. We discuss the Muslim question in Narendra Modi's India. Keep watching NewsClick, subscribe to the channel, and wait for the second part of this interview with India's greatest living filmmaker, Shyam Benegal.